It's 20 degrees outside on this January morning in Spokane, Washington, as a line forms outside the Salvation Army Community Center. Before this day is over, nearly half of those experiencing homelessness on the streets of Spokane will stand in this line and pass through these doors in search of help. This documentary is about them. It's about the event that's bringing them to the Salvation Army today. And it's about how the Spokane community is coming together to fight homelessness and to serve those experiencing it. And for our purposes, it all starts with a big, empty room. It doesn't look like much right now, just a big empty room. But in a few hours, that'll change. Not just this room, but this entire building will be filled with 65 service providers offering free services to anyone in need. Here in this room, Catholic Charities and SNAP Housing will work with people looking for housing. Chaz healthcare workers will offer vaccinations and other free health services. Union Gospel Mission will be offering adult shelter services. Mental health providers will offer counseling and other mental health services. And this is just one room, and that's just a few of the services here. Over in the chapel area, Family Promise will work with families experiencing homelessness. Heart program workers from local school districts will work with public school students also experiencing homelessness. The Jonah Project will work with girls fleeing sex trafficking. And Spokane Community College will work with students experiencing homelessness but wanting to pursue an education. Employment pipeline workers will help people find jobs so they can work their way to a better life. But there's more. In the next big room, New Leaf Bakery volunteers will serve a free spaghetti dinner. Lawyers and legal specialists will help attendees with a variety of legal issues, including landlord-tenant issues. A food bank will provide take-home food items for attendees needing help. And down at the end of the hallway, municipal, district, and superior courts will convene a warrant fest to help attendees to quash outstanding warrants, to reschedule court dates, and help with other outstanding legal issues. There's more. There'll be free haircuts, veterinarians providing free pet care, and the Spokane Humane Society offering free pet supplies. More than 25 generous financial and in-kind sponsors will make this day possible with their donations. Even the use of this great facility for today's event will be donated by the Salvation Army. And who's coming? More than 400 people, either experiencing homelessness or living on the bubble of homelessness and trying hard to avoid it. And it's all organized by community volunteers who understand the importance of coming together as a community to address an issue like homelessness that affects all of us. This is the Spokane Homeless Connect, an annual event that embodies what it means to be a community that comes together to address and solve critical issues which affect the quality of life for everyone in the community. Why do they do that? Because at some level they understand a profound practical truth expressed by the ancient Hebrew prophet who wrote, "Seek the welfare of the city, for in its welfare you'll find your welfare." Certain truths haven't changed in the 25 centuries since those words were first penned by the prophet Jeremiah. If we want peace, health, wholeness, and welfare for ourselves and our own families, then we have to seek that same peace, health, wholeness, and welfare for others and their families. Why? Because you and I are part of a community, and our personal welfare is tied to the welfare of others. If we want to see solutions to community issues such as panhandlers on street corners, homeless individuals sleeping under bridges, homeless families sleeping in their cars, homeless school kids couch surfing with friends, homeless teens loitering around downtown businesses, sex trafficking, racial and social justice, and many more, then each of us has to become part of the solution. But who do you see as the face of homelessness? I just attended my daughter's graduation from Princeton Seminary, New Jersey. My older brother and I were at the Raleigh-Durham Airport to rent a car for the rest of my 10-day stay with family in North Carolina. As the woman behind the rental car counter tapped away on her computer to finish our paperwork, my brother told her about my work among the homeless here in Spokane. At that point, something unusual, completely unexpected happened. The lovely lady behind the rental car counter began to weep. Now, I generally don't have that effect on strangers, so I knew something special was happening. Then it came out. It seems that she had come out of an abusive marriage, and in the process, she and her son found themselves homeless for a while and forced to live in their car. Now she had recovered and was moving ahead with life, but the personal pain of that experience lay just beneath the surface of her customer service smile. I learned an important lesson that day about the face of homelessness and how we see people. My friend Mark Terrell founded Cup of Cool Water, an outreach to teens experiencing homelessness on the streets of our community. Mark once taught me a principle I'll never forget. How we see people is the beginning of how we treat people. So, how do you see the homeless of our community? Most of us have seen images on the news of homeless people sleeping on the streets, images of people lying on the sidewalk, images of others sleeping under bridges, or images of homeless camps. But when you saw those images, did you see them as people with a terminal disease? As dead men walking? Or as dead men camping? According to those working to get the chronically homeless into transitional housing, the people they work with have been homeless for an average of 11 years, and many of them will die within 3 years of getting housing. Why? Because homelessness wreaks havoc on a person's health, and the effect is cumulative over time. Homelessness is like a terminal disease that's treatable and curable if caught early, but the longer it continues untreated, the more deadly it becomes, until eventually it becomes fatal. Simply put, unresolved homelessness, like an untreated fatal disease, kills. This reality creates an urgency for solving homelessness. We as a community need to decide, and decide quickly, how many people we're willing to watch die on the streets of our city before we're willing to do what's required to solve this problem. To rescue those who are quite literally perishing before our unseeing eyes, and to prevent those living on the bubble of homelessness from joining the ranks of dead men walking. The goal of the Spokane Homeless Connect is to bring our community together to serve the most vulnerable among us, to offer the homeless and the vulnerable a safe place from the streets for a few hours, and to provide them with the services they need to eventually escape the fatal grip of homelessness. In the process, we want to change how we as a community see those struggling with homelessness, poverty, and the many associated ripple effects. As Mark Terrell would remind us all, how you and I see people is the beginning of how we treat people. So, who do you see as the face of homelessness in our community? Is it the face of the person with the backpack sleeping on the sidewalk? Or the face of the smiling lady behind the rental car counter? Is it the face of the person sleeping under a bridge? Or the face of someone like me? If you opted for the person sleeping under a bridge, you'd only be half right, because I was homeless. Following a business failure and bankruptcy in which we lost everything, my family and I were effectively homeless. By the grace of God and the help of friends and family, we didn't have to sleep in our car, but it was a life-changing experience that shaped who we are as individuals and as a family, even today. The face of homelessness in our community can look like the person sleeping on the street, or the family sleeping in their car, or the person sitting next to you in church, or a coworker at your office. Homelessness can look like me. The face of homelessness in our community may not be the face you expected. And one of the purposes of the Spokane Homeless Connect and of this documentary is to change who and what we see when it comes to homelessness in our community. Always remembering that how we see people is the beginning of how we treat people. Welcome to the Spokane Homeless Connect. On any given night, 1,245 individuals experience homelessness on the streets of our community. How do we know? Simple. We count. Every year, somewhere in the last 10 days of January, Spokane joins cities all over America for an event called the Point in Time Count. Starting tonight and for 7 days, scores of volunteers fan out across the city to conduct what's effectively a homeless census, looking under bridges, visiting homeless camps, walking the alleys of the city, and reaching out to as many potential contact locations as possible to find people experiencing homelessness. According to the 2018 point-in-time count, on any given night in Spokane, 1,245 individuals experience homelessness. 935 of those were in emergency shelters, while another 310 slept in places not designed for human habitation. And because of the way homelessness is defined, counted, and reported, those numbers do not include an additional 3,500 youth grades K through 12 who experience homelessness while attending schools in the greater Spokane area. Each year, the Planning Committee for the Spokane Homeless Connect works with the City of Spokane to schedule the Connect to coincide with the annual point-in-time count so that people coming to the Connect to find services can also be included in the count. Tonight, we're at the Cannon Street Warming Center in Spokane to help conduct the 2019 point-in-time count. Spokane's gone digital, trading paper census forms for a smartphone or tablet app tailored to conduct tonight's count, improving the overall accuracy of the count and allowing planners to track the count in real time. This annual homeless census represents a genuine attempt at an accurate snapshot of homelessness in the greater Spokane area. A more accurate count should yield better data, and better data will help the city and agency planners to better tailor solutions to specific needs and to allocate resources accordingly. Tisha Danzig is part of the City of Spokane team that organizes, conducts, and analyzes the count.
So the point-in-time count is an annual survey. It happens in the last 10 days in January, and it's a requirement for all communities that receive funding from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, so from HUD. And we use it as an opportunity to survey individuals that are experiencing homelessness and learn more about their situations, the landscape of what's going on for them, including barriers that are preventing them from getting housed, how long they've been in our community, and other questions like that, along with demographic information that HUD is really curious about. But we really do look at it as an opportunity to learn more about homelessness in our area, in our region, and then be able to make some really strong resource allocations or programmatic changes throughout the year.
After a couple of hours, nearly all of the 43 people staying in the warming center have been interviewed and counted. Some choose not to participate, and that's okay. It reminds us that any count of those experiencing homelessness will always be a work in progress. I compare it to nailing Jell-O to a tree. It can be done, but it's a bit more challenging than it looks at first glance. While we've been counting, others at the warming center have been serving a meal, prepared and served by volunteers. One of those volunteers is Julie Garcia. After the meal service, we asked Julie to share her thoughts on serving the homeless and why she's here.
My daughter's a heroin addict, so she's out here. Sometimes she's sober, sometimes she's not. Currently she's sober for about 30 days now, but this is where she lives. This is what she does. I spend my days finding her, and these guys help me. You know, if they see her, they call me, and I come get her. She's 23. I raised my 3-year-old granddaughter. So I know what this life is. I know what these guys struggle with. I know what addiction and mental health, what problems they have in the community, you know, and what resources aren't available to them. They're outside, and yesterday it was 19 degrees. I was outside for 2 hours and I was frozen. And these guys are standing out at Salem at 4, you know, trying to get a spot. So I can't imagine what they go through standing out there. They're freezing just standing in line. And we're struggling to keep food hot for them. I can't imagine just trying to keep their feet warm. And out here, dry feet is life. Like, your feet get wet and you die. You know, they get frostbite, they end up at the hospital, and that's it. It's over after that for the winter.
As tonight's count winds down, and as Julie and her team pack up their food service, I'm reminded that this shelter is filled with personal stories of painful journeys, both for the people experiencing homelessness and for the people who love them. It would be a mistake to conclude that the point-in-time count and all the improved data it provides will magically solve homelessness. If only solving intractable community problems like homelessness was as simple as an app and a count. The theme of Spokane's point-in-time count is Everybody Counts. That theme serves as a reminder. First, it reminds us that every man, woman, and child experiencing homelessness, hunger, and marginalization in Spokane matters. They count. Second, it reminds us that counting and identifying those in need throughout our community requires a genuine community effort. All of us, everybody, must be involved in counting, in caring, and in offering practical solutions. Finally, this theme and amazing people like Julie Garcia remind us of a deeper truth. We can't change what we don't love. We can't love what we don't know. And we can't know what we're unwilling to invest with our time, our effort, and our resources. And that includes counting, because everybody counts, including you.
Current living situation, we say housed, how's it risk of being homeless? Homeless, okay, so streets, shelter?
At 10 o'clock on this January morning, the doors are officially opened and the Spokane Homeless Connect is underway. For the next 5 hours, staff, volunteers, attendees, and service providers all merge into a sea of activity as our community learns and demonstrates what it means to serve those in need. We thought it would be a good idea to simply take some time and let you absorb some of the sights and sounds of the Connect for yourself. It's the next closest thing to being here.
So we partner with Homeless Connect, and we have members of our staff on that board also. And we offer a space here for them to offer a lot of services for the homeless here in Spokane. So the homeless come to one site and learn all the different resources that are available to them. You know, for us in the Salvation Army, we're about rescue the perishing, renew the ability to thrive, and restore healthy communities. And so this fits within our goals. And for us, and I'm sure everybody else here, we don't want to treat the homeless as that is where they are for life. We want to say, hey, that's where you are right now. But man, we've got bigger plans for you, and that you can rise above where you're at and actually get a job, get into permanent housing, and thrive at a level that where you can thrive. Not everybody's going to be a doctor. You might be the Walmart greeter, but man, that might be the place where you're thriving and that you're giving back to a community.
We are with Providence House of Charity Medical Clinic. We are a walk-in clinic, free clinic. We help people sign up for insurance. We help with different resources. I think for me, being in the front of the, what they call as the welcome mat, breaking down those barriers when it comes to medical care, and some of our patients are really damaged by the way that they may have been treated, restoring that trust and breaking through those layers of that and making them feel welcome right when they come in the door.
My name's Kate Burke. I'm on the Spokane City Council and I represent District 1. So we're here in my district today, and that's Northeast Spokane. It's great to see agencies, organizations, nonprofits, business communities, and leaders in the area come together to really see what the issues are and figure out ways that we can solve these problems. So being here today is really an experience, and I think it's a great opportunity for our community to see what's going on, hands-on, and really helping these folks find resources that are already out there that maybe they can touch base and get those resources to become successful.
Hi, my name is Mark Richard, and I'm the president and CEO of the Downtown Spokane Partnership. I think equally what we hear is that we need better access to affordable housing. So we need not only access to subsidized housing, but also making sure that new entry homes can be built affordably. So how do we incentivize and provide a permit process so that a brand new starter home isn't too expensive? So access to housing, right? We also have a plethora, as you know, of old housing stock that is just around in our community sitting vacant, has been abandoned, and those need to be, I think, refurbished and made accessible.
I'm David Condon. I'm the mayor of the City of Spokane, and today at this Connect, it's really about bringing the resources of all of our partners to those that are most vulnerable in our community. Everything from our court systems to housing organizations to healthcare to haircuts to animal care, all of these things coming together to really provide a one-stop shop, and then at the same time the city and for the county, as part of our annual count of homeless and those people that are experiencing homelessness in different facets, to make sure that we have the programs that service the most vulnerable in our community the best way.
I'm Janine Moore. I'm with Life Services My Choice Clinic. I'm the clinic director there.
And I'm Nancy Seefeld, and I am also with Life Services, and I am the director of volunteers. We love being part of it because the other arm of our ministry is our maternity home and our host homes. And so we have a lot of clients that come to us that are pregnant. We'll service anyone who is 12 years and older who's pregnant. And a lot of the gals that we see are homeless. And so it's an opportunity to give a safe environment for their baby and themselves. It's run family style, and we provide a social worker to help navigate the public assistance part of things, school goals, career goals, and help them through usually a pretty tough patch.
We're here at Homeless Connect today because we do a lot of outreach work, and we have a table at any job resource fair. We always want to have representation for veterans in the community and mostly increase awareness that we even exist and be there in case they're a veteran that's homeless or at risk of homelessness. They need to connect with our office, and then in turn we can connect them to other resources. We partner with a lot of people here in the homeless community.
Well, this is a very wonderful program that's going on. This Homeless Connect is just full of services, it's full of resources, and a lot of the people here, as we use a soft heart and an open mind, it's very helpful because a lot of the people, unfortunately, that are of the homeless community are gems. They're gems in our society that we just have to make sure that we lend the love. And when the love doesn't seem enough, we love more, because every single one of them deserves a chance. Every single one of them. So I'm just glad to be here, be a part of this, and continue to just float around and usher people to get them where they need to go in the right direction.
I'm Allie Norris. I'm from Mission Community Outreach Center. I'm the executive director there, and we're a free clothing, hygiene, and diaper bank, and we serve all of the Spokane City. And today I'm on the planning committee for the Homeless Connect, and I run the food bank.
People matter, regardless of their pathway, regardless of where they've been, where they're headed. People matter, and if they're struggling with staying drug and alcohol free, the cafe is a place that they can come and have support and become a part of a community that supports their recovery journey.
I have been a member of Recovery Cafe since I decided to join the recovery journey back in June of 2018, and it has been a huge part of my recovery, and I love to be there. I love to help other people that are going through the same journey, that have suffered the same disease, and it's an amazing community, and I love being there.
And I have been a part of the Recovery Cafe team since July 30th, 2018, and it's been a blessing.
We're just excited to be able to serve our community in this way and meet the clients that we are all sharing, actually. And homelessness and substance abuse are some of the highest risk factors for kiddos that are falling into trafficking. And so it's really important to us to be out here in the community and telling people that we're a resource that they can call and potentially even have a kiddo housed with us.
Within 48 hours of being homeless, 1 in 3 kiddos will be approached for what is ultimately trafficking. So here we get to really get on the ground floor for an opportunity to intervene before it's too late.
I'm Eileen Lupert. I'm the managing librarian of the Spokane Valley Library. So I'm here with the library. We're forgiving library fines and signing people up for library cards. And we have a new low-use card for people who don't have addresses. We've had almost 500 people here today, so that tells you how important it is. For the library, we really want to be about connecting people in the community. That's what we do. So it only makes sense that we're here to help be a part of that. Well, I think that we've worked really hard to try to knock down as many barriers as we can. Most libraries will block you at a certain point, but we try to find ways around that. We now have an internet-only card, so you don't have to worry about fines. As I mentioned, we have the low barrier card where you can still check out 2 items if you don't have an address. So we try to find ways to do it, but we know if you're a family and you've got kids, if your card is blocked, your kids don't get to read. So any way we can, we're trying to knock those barriers down when we're able to. I'm proud to be a part of the Homeless Connect. This is where we see our clients. This is where we make new clients for the library. As I said, we did this last year, and we were so inspired out in the Spokane Valley. We did a Spokane Valley Connect last September, where we were able to serve another 325 people. So we want to be a part of it here at the Salvation Army. We want to continue to grow it outside of Spokane and downtown as well.
I'm with Family Promises Spokane. I'm the executive director there, and we run shelters for homeless families in particular. And we also do some rental assistance and aftercare for families. There's a lot of different shelters, but they're designed more around men come into this shelter, or women come into this one, and men and women are split, or teenage boys, nobody knows where to put them. And so until we opened the Open Doors, the emergency family shelter, there was no place for families to stay together if they were homeless. And so this is the one place where you can walk in the day you're homeless, stay together as a family, and it's really designed around kids. So it's a different environment than a lot of the other places.
I'm Sarah Miller, and I'm with the Spokane Public Schools HEART program.
And I'm Tracy Fowler. I'm also with Spokane Public Schools HEART program.
Our job is to facilitate the McKinney-Vento Homeless Education Assistance Act, and that act provides supports and services to students who are experiencing housing instability or homelessness. And so the federal law is what dictates the work that we do, and the HEART program is the avenue in which our district provides those services. And so we do a lot of different things within the school setting. So far this year, we're up over 1,000 students that we've identified within our district. We stay pretty steady right around the 950 mark of kids who are actively receiving services. Over the course of the year, our district tends to hover around 4.5% of our student population in any given year has experienced homelessness at some point within that school year. The Homeless Connect event just allows us to make sure that the word about our program is out there, so that we can be more recognized amongst the community, and so that families know that we even exist.
I work with Solution Is Ours. We're street outreach. We go out into the streets at night, find people where they're located, try to get services to them, get them directed towards services, and make sure people aren't dying in the streets at night. We've been actually, they used to do a warming center here. We used to come down and feed down here every night of the week that it was open. Now we have a couple other warming centers around town. But every year we come down for the Homeless Connect. Salvation Army is awesome putting this on. They've been really, really great over the years with our homeless community. Yeah, that's kind of why we're here. I mean, there's people all over the city that are, a paycheck away from becoming homeless, and it's once you find yourself in those straits, it's really hard to pull yourself out of it. So we try to give people a helping hand, get them where they need to be, get them applied for services, housing, food, that type of thing.
I am with Northwest Harvest, and we are a food distributor. We have 375 partners in Washington State, and we're very pleased to be here at the Homeless Connect and to offer our services to them. We distribute the 375 food banks and meal plans we give to. The food is nutritious food with dignity, so it's with no charge. So if someone agrees to be one of our partners, they come to a food bank and without ID, without zip code, without mail, if they say they're hungry, then we say, here you go, and we're glad you're here. With Northwest Harvest, we gave over 32 million meals last year in Washington State without government funding.
We're here to connect homeless individuals to services. This
particular program is geared at assisting homeless people get off the streets. We have different tiers of assistance that we can offer. Basically, we're just here to help people get housed. You know, mostly people that lost their housing due to lack of income or breakdown of personal relationships. A lot of times there's some types of substance or mental issues that prevent people from being able to really maintain things. So that's kind of the common thread that we see. I really think that you judge a community by how it helps the people at the lowest. And I feel like it's my calling to help those people up.
Of course, our primary mission at Spokane Valley Partners is food, and we distribute about 1.5 million pounds a year through a lot of different programs. So people don't think that there are homeless in the valley, but there are, and we serve them every day by the dozens. So officially, the point in time count from last year said there were 45 homeless in the valley. So we know there are a lot more than that, and we have about 800 classified homeless students in valley schools alone.
This is an outreach to try to reach out and touch the downtrodden, the homeless, and then just kind of offer a ray of hope and let them know that there are entities that feel their pain. Well, I have been homeless, and I know that not so much in Spokane, but Seattle, Texas, there's a sense of hopelessness. It's just, why try to do anything? Nobody cares, you know, but you know, there's no incentive to do anything but maybe alcohol, drugs, or your mental health kicks in, and people need to know that there are people that will help, and this is important because it puts a face on the people that are here to help the downtrodden. And I had a 50-year heroin addiction. You know what I mean? I had never thought that I could be clean and sober. And a big part of my recovery is surrounding myself with like-minded people. I couldn't do it without that. I've met a lot of people down here just networking that I'll continue to be in contact with.
Oh, I'm just here with the programs that they have going on right now for the assistance and opportunities for homeless and in need of their help. I had my dog's rabies vaccination done, and housing for SNAP. They're helping me with that, as well as Melina and the DSHS. What's it called? Eligibility review. It's been really good. It's a lot of people. Just really good atmosphere. You know, everyone's just here to get what we're doing done. This is one of the best events that I've actually seen and I've been able to attend. I was at the food bank yesterday, and I found out they were having this today when I was over at the warming center on Armina, and I've been kind of just playing it by ear. I don't know. I want to get back into my own skin. It's rough, you know. Like okay, I have to carry all my stuff with me every single day: food, blankets, coat, and I can't, you know, just it's cold and there's a lot of snow and it's heavy, and then I have my dog, so I don't really like to walk around, and it's really difficult to find a place to just be. Annabella, yeah, she's a mutt. She's cute. She's a good pet. She's really smart. I'm lucky to have her. She was 12 weeks old when I first got on this street. technically off and on again for like 11 years. However, I'm young and it's just, life. You can't expect everything.
One of the personal challenges for people experiencing homelessness is maintaining simple, personal hygiene. Things you and I take for granted are often beyond the reach of those in the homeless community. Simple things that offer simple human dignity, like bathrooms, showers, and the ability to do laundry. It should come as no surprise that one of the most popular services at each year's Homeless Connect is a professional haircut. Simply put, we offer the simple personal dignity of a haircut. We'll let the pictures tell the story, because these are moments that don't really need any explanation.
Cutting people you know is always the worst, man, because they're the pickiest.
Nice. Feels good.
I've got it here for it.
Homelessness is a journey, and not one people normally choose to take. Every person experiencing homelessness has a story about how they became homeless and the different struggles they faced on their journey out of homelessness. One of the goals of this documentary series is to record some of those stories of people and their journeys through homelessness.
I guess I can say that before I was homeless, that I was somebody that didn't worry about that. I always had a good job and I was able to take care of myself, and I never had to worry about like my safety or, like literally getting food for the day. And when I saw a homeless person, I felt like I didn't know, I felt like, number one, that maybe that their choices led to that, or I never really understood or could relate to how they became homeless. And now that I've been there, I would say that if you can just imagine them, there being a similarity between you and them in some way, and then just thinking about what it would feel like for you to not have that, it's really something else to have somewhere you can go and that you can sleep at night. I mean, that really does make a difference in your mental health. Well, your whole mindset changes into a daily survival. So you worry about what you're going to eat. And in my case, I had 2 dogs, so I couldn't just go to shelters. So where you're going to sleep, your safety is a concern, which that was never a concern of mine before. And also relying on other people. And then that's incredibly challenging to be able to trust other people. One thing I encountered was people were stealing. They would steal from me, and I'm not used to having to, decipher between people that I can trust and not trust. If they present themselves in a way that I believe I can trust them, and then I would turn my back and everything would be gone. So that's one of the most challenging parts about being homeless and being on your own and a woman. Your safety and where you're going to sleep at night is really scary. So your mindset changes. I mean, I never saw that coming. I come from great education and a good, great mother who was educated, and so I never saw that. I never could foresee any of that. it can happen to anyone, you know. I went to Berkeley straight out of high school. I had a 3.4 GPA, but I was able to get in, and I did Native American Studies at first, and I ended up changing my major to Peace and Conflict Studies. I graduated in 2005. I had a high GPA. I was in an honors program there, and I worked my whole way through, and I loved it, and that changed my life, and I'm really grateful that that's an amazing experience that not everybody gets to do. I would tell somebody on the street that there is help out there, and there are resources, and I know it's hard to go out and, you know, that energy and that to go look for those resources, but it's worth it, and that they're worth it, and that it's not always going to be this bad. It's going to get better, and don't lose hope, you know, and don't be afraid to ask for help, because there are people out there that want to help you. That's what I would say. My name is Loretta Graycloud. I am working with Change Point Northwest Housing now, and other organizations, and doing grants and finding funding. I'm passionate about helping people and helping specifically homeless people. And I'm an excellent writer, and I'm passionate about life, and I hope to make a change in the world.
My name is Tyler Burnett, and I'm a resident at Union Gospel Mission. So I was born and raised in Spokane, and everything was well until later on in my life. In my teenage years, I started getting heavy into drugs, and it kind of led me down the wrong path, and I ended up out on the streets for about 4 years until I found the Union Gospel Mission. I was at rock bottom. I had nothing left, and I had no support around me or anything, and that was my point where I just said, I can't do this anymore. I need to get out of this. It was really hard. You always have to be watching your back, because someone's always trying to take what you have, or kind of just like put you in a lower place than you already are. You gotta fight every day to eat and, you know, just make it, find somewhere to stay. And I didn't, honestly. I thought I was just kind of doomed. A lot of the times I would stay in like those blue recycling can things. I would stay in there, or I would kind of like get a tarp and like pitch a tent and stuff like that, but it was always like really cold, and I had nowhere to go. I had lost everything that I had. I remember I had just like a small backpack, and I had a few clothes items in there, and I think it got stolen, and all I had was what I had on me, and it was horrible, because I've been in those clothes for probably about 3 weeks without a shower or anything like that. And I just thought, this is it. You can't do this anymore. You can't keep suffering. You gotta go get your life back under control and figure it out. I actually was down on Argonne, and they have a church across the street called Victory Faith. And I went in there, they were having a service going on, and I was trying to see if they knew any resources where I could stay and stuff like that. And I met this pastor, and he started telling me about the UGM and how one of their friends that went to the church ended up going there, and that he had his life back under control. So he was nice enough to give me a ride there, and I stayed there overnight, and I've been there since. I remember my first day at UGM, and I felt very scared and alone. I didn't know what was gonna happen next. But the longer I stayed there, the more it started to grow on me. I really got involved, and all the people there are so nice, and they treat you like family, and they are my family. I've been at the Union Gospel Mission for about 7 months, and I quit using drugs. I kind of changed myself around. I actually got promoted to housekeeping supervisor there, so it just goes to show you hard work really does pay off. I'm happy now. That's my word I would pick, happy that I'm moving forward and regaining control of my life, and I'm starting to live life now. That's what I'm doing.
Pets, particularly dogs, are an integral part of the homeless community. And pet services, including veterinarians, vaccinations, wellness checks, and pet supplies, are one of the most popular services offered at every year's Homeless Connect. The popularity of dogs in the homeless community reminds me of something Bum Phillips, the former head coach of the old Houston Oilers football team, once said. He owned a horse ranch, which is where he spent the off-season. A reporter once asked him why he liked horses so much. His response was classic Bum Phillips. "Well, son, a horse never talks about you behind your back." In the homeless community, a dog is often the only one who can be trusted never to betray its owner, and never to talk about him behind his back. And besides, they're just cute.
This is my first year being involved with Homeless Connect, and I love it. I love seeing all these people get the help that they need. Like, the pets are having fun. Lots of puppies to play with. I've always loved animals. I went to school for a veterinary assistant and I worked at a vet clinic. I'm currently a stay-at-home mom, but I offered to come and help out and help take care of the pets and organize, and pretty much it. Well, pets are very important for them. They help with depression, they help protect them. It's amazing. There's a lot of people that wouldn't get up in the morning if it wasn't for their animals. So they're very important mentally, physically. Most of the pets we've seen today have had vaccinations and just random exams, like nothing big. Oh yes, they're very appreciated and very sweet.
She was supposed to have a bath and I didn't know what this was going on.
For a variety of reasons, it's not uncommon for people in the homeless community to have encounters with law enforcement. Those encounters frequently result in citations and court dates. The challenge of life on the street often results in missed court dates. When that happens, standard procedure is to issue an arrest warrant for failure to appear. With an outstanding warrant, a person can't apply for many services, including jobs, housing, or any public assistance benefits. That makes it nearly impossible for them to get their life back. This is why each year the Spokane Homeless Connect hosts a Warrant Fest. This year, for the second year, all 3 Spokane courts, municipal, district, and superior, participated. Judges, court commissioners, public prosecutors, and defenders all worked with attendees to recall warrants, both misdemeanors and felonies, to reschedule court dates, and to get their legal lives back on track so they can move forward.
Well, my favorite part about this event really is the ability to break down barriers that keep people homeless. And one of those barriers is issues related to law enforcement. And so having the judges here and the district attorneys here and the prosecutors and a few judges to help our homeless break free from wants and warrants. Because in some cases, a homeless person might get a ticket for a vagrancy or driving without a license or without insurance, and that fine for a person that is working a job or has a good support system of a couple $100, it's a painful fine for an average person, or for a person on the edge of becoming homeless or that is homeless, it's a mountain they can't climb out of. So by having the judges here to deal with those warrants, it lowers those barriers, so now they can actually get a job because they don't have a warrant. They can actually get housing because they don't have a warrant, and they can actually deal with stuff that's really been keeping them down.
Superior Court Judge Marianne Marino was one of the judges participating in this year's Warrant Fest. Judge Marino is very involved in efforts towards criminal justice reforms. She took time to share some of her thoughts on today's Warrant Fest before court got underway.
Well, the city and the county have been engaging in Warrant Fest, if you will, for many, many years, and we've always thought it was very important for Superior Court to be a part of that. Since we've started our criminal justice reforms, the focus has been on trying to get people to come back to court regardless of what their charges are. So after a series of long discussions with some of the other powers that be, we were advised that the prosecutor's office and the public defender's office would also be taking a part in this. And being a part of it is important for several reasons. First of all, some individuals might think they have, for example, a shoplifting warrant, and they come in and they're looked up on the computer, and it turns out they have a felony warrant. They didn't even know they had it. It might even be out of the same incident, but that allows us to be able to take care of that, and that's an important step toward an individual reaching out for services.
Today's Warrant Fest is fully underway with court commissioners, public prosecutors and defenders, and court staff working with attendees to resolve their legal issues.
The goal of Warrant Fest is to try to bring people back into the system that have cases pending, warrants outstanding, with no conditions. That we want to ask people to come back into the system. We're not going to arrest them on the warrants. We want to give them a second opportunity to come to court on their own and resolve their cases. Today is going amazing. There's a lot of people here, a lot of people with different types of cases, a lot of different issues, able to connect people with a variety of different services at the same time we're dealing with their criminal cases. So far today, the cases that have come across my desk have been driving suspended cases, assault cases, malicious mischief cases. There have been cases from our community court downtown, just a wide variety. We've had domestic violence cases, we've had non-domestic violence cases. It's just amazing the variety of people that are coming in to take advantage of this opportunity.
People are coming in and we're helping people get from where they need to be, from where they are to where they need to be. And the services here has been awesome. To be able to have everything in one place is a blessing. I hope that in future we are able to not only help people quash their warrants, that we're able to help them take care of their case right here, so that we can actually have the service. If they need to do community service, they go do it and come back, we get rid of the case. Or if they have more serious cases, then we have a plan. We have a plan work out that they need to do and what they need to go do. So that's the goal, to be able to at least have services all in one place. People are able to know where they need to be, what they need to do. For that, we're going to need a larger facility, and I heard that they are looking at getting to a bigger place. So the good thing is we are able to have all the three courts here, the Superior Court, the District Court, the Municipal Court, all are doing their best to make sure that people get the help they need to be where they need to be. Thank you.
It's been quite a day. According to the official door count, 540 people attended today's Connect. When we asked attendees what they found most helpful, based on 246 exit surveys, 70% of responses fell into 8 areas, including food, housing, clothing, the Warrant Fest, and SNAP housing and homeless services. These surveys and the feedback they provide will help the Planning Committee plan next year's Spokane Homeless Connect and other similar events during the year. We began this day with the question, what does homelessness look like? And how can we better serve those experiencing it? What we've seen today is how a community can come together and answer that question. The issue, the question, and the answer are all bigger than Spokane. Communities all across America are wrestling to better understand the issue, to ask better questions, and to find better community answers. And what we've seen on display today through the Spokane Homeless Connect can serve as a model to encourage other communities to do something similar. All that's really needed is the vision to see homelessness differently and the will to work together as a community to address a community issue. On a personal note, I frequently hear people excuse not getting involved by saying, well, after all, didn't even Jesus say we would always have the poor with us? Insert the phrase, the homeless, and you get the point. And yes, Jesus did say, the poor you always have with you. But that isn't the whole story. Everyone in Jesus' first century audience knew that he was reminding them of Deuteronomy 15:11, which says, "For there will never cease to be poor in the land. Therefore I command you, you shall open wide your hand to your brother, to the needy, and to the poor in your land." Serving people in need, including the homeless, the marginalized, and the poor, is a timeless task. The author of Deuteronomy understood that reality 34 centuries ago. He also understood the human tendency over time to close our hand toward those in need. There's a timeless principle reflected here. A closed hand toward those in need is the sign of a closed heart. Our heart tends to close long before our hand does. When it comes to serving those in need in our community, what does the condition of your hand say about the condition of your heart? Is it open or closed? Now's your opportunity to do something about it. How? By getting involved. Get involved by discovering more on our documentary homepage at myroadleadshome.org. Learn more about the Spokane Homeless Connect, along with all the agencies featured in this documentary. And while you're there, become a part of our team by supporting this and future documentaries with your financial gift.